Welcome to the Mountains Are Everywhere podcast. My name's Ryan, and I want to talk about the outdoors, mental health, and everything that connects the two. So lace up those boots, cinch down those packs, and let's head for the mountains. Welcome back, everybody, to what will be a new edition and hopefully a pretty regular occurrence here on the podcast, where we're just going to talk about strictly the outdoors, whether it's going to be about a hunting trip or talking about gear or just sitting down and talking specifically about memories that we had hunting or fishing. I don't know what I'm going to call it yet. I'm stuck somewhere between all about the hunt or hunt talk or something of the sort, just to signify for people that see the episodes that this one will specifically be only about the outdoors, or majority about the outdoors, because though this is a outdoor oriented podcast, I know that hunting and fishing is not everyone's jam, and maybe some are just here to learn about mental health experiences. So it's just something to signify to listeners like, hey, this is specifically what this episode is going to be about. But regardless of that, it's either going to be just me or with a guest. This one, fortunately, is going to be with a guest, and we're just going to be rewinding on a recent experience we had about the outdoors, where that's, again, that's all that we talk about. So I don't want to belabor that too much, but that's what it's going to be about. And this one's going to be with my main hunting partner, Hunter. So here we go. All right, what's up, buddy?
Hey, bud, we good?
Yeah, we're live. We're going. We're doing this.
Well, thanks for having me.
Well, thanks for coming. It's you're a lot of the reason that we're here right now. We're coming in about an hour and a half post pig hunt. We both got off work kind of later than we'd want to be out there pig hunting, but I was much later, and I'd kind of chalked it up to not going, and Hunter gave me a call after being out there for like 30 minutes and said, hey, that pig that you've been after since freaking July is out here. So I got home and burnt rubber and got out there in time, and yeah, now we're coming at you just post while the adrenaline's still pumping a little bit.
Yeah, so like Ryan mentioned, even going into the hunt, it was later than I would liked, but it's a Friday night that we're recording right now, and we have Saturday to go after them, so it's still good to get out, get eyes on them, just exercise the equipment and just enjoy the outdoors. So I went into a spot that we hunted last weekend, and being it was later, I took my time because theoretically the pigs should be out and moving. And boy, was I right. There's a little hill that you climb as you're walking into this area. And as I crest the top of that hill, I took my binoculars and I glassed out the ridgeline I was planning to walk, making sure I wasn't going to spook anything. Well, it's a good thing to take your time in these types of situations, because sure enough, funny enough, when you see a white and black pig,
Was that the first one that you saw?
you think it's a dog. And in this area, it's not too surprising to see a dog out there. Like, it's in the realm of possibilities. So it's the very first pig I saw. So spoiler alert, sorry. And I'm like, that's a pig Ryan's been wanting to get on. And I'm like, well, it's Friday. I'm not gonna push him too hard. I'm gonna see how close I can get, and we'll go from there. But I'm like, right now I have to get on the backside of this ridge, to get closer, to close some distance. Well, I don't know how many of you listeners are religious, but rewind a little bit. Ryan went to go out on a hunt earlier this week, and he gave me a call, and he's like, hey, bud. I'm like, what's up? He's like, I was going to go on a hunt, but some...
Oh, man, I had already forgot about this. I hadn't even thought about it like this.
So, yeah, he calls me, he's like, I was going to go on a hunt, but something in life came up, and I have to go and help the family now.
Something in life is my wife ran out of gas on her way home from work. I can laugh about it now, but her car is kind of on its last leg, and it's broke down before, and I thought this was finally the straw that broke the camel's back, and thankfully it was just her running out of gas. But sorry for cutting you off, but I think what he's getting at is I like to think that when stuff like that, I was literally pulling out of my driveway I was texting my wife to say, going hunting for a bit, and in the middle of the text, I get the phone call, and yeah, what we were getting at is I'm assuming is what you're getting at is I like to think that things happen for a reason, and there's probably some reason I just wasn't meant to go out there, and it seems like maybe it's because I might have shot something other than that white pig. Because we've been out there 2 or 3 times now, and I've been out there more than that before Hunter had been going out there, and I haven't seen that white pig since August or September. It's been a long time. I kind of gave up on it. I thought somebody else shot it.
Yeah, so I spotted it, and what's something we left out there is like sort of like divine intervention.
Yes.
So yeah, I go to the backside. Get back on the story. I go to the backside of this ridge, and as soon as I do, there's this massive red boar with black spots. For me, trophy pig. Maybe not for like everybody, but for me, it's definitely one of the biggest pigs I've put stock on. I did get some of it in video. I'm excited to review that at some point. But I turned to the camera and I'm like, hey guys, I'm like, that group of pigs over there with the white one. I'm like, Ryan put me on the spot. Those are his pigs. I'm gonna put a stock on this big boar, and I did. And we were I was pretty close to a road still. Not like super close, but close enough that trucks can drive by and interrupt wildlife, and that's what happened here.
Probably a couple 100 yards, wasn't it?
Yeah, probably 5. Well, tops 500 yards. And when that truck drove by, it's a washboard, washed out dirt road, and it startled the pig. That, and I was at this point probably 50 yards from it, so it hadn't shown any signs of spooking or anything, or knowing I was there yet. But it could have known. It could have known that it's like, hey, something's over there getting after me, because he was kind of walking away, but that's kind of the direction he'd been walking since I was trying to get on him. And after he spooked, I was like, I looked at the time. I'm like, Ryan should be off by now. So I gave him a call at that point. I'm like, hey, that white pig that you saw a while back, it's out here. And he's like, I just got off. I'll see if I can see if I'm going to come out there. I'll message you if I do. I'm like, well, all right, I'll go up here, get eyes on it.
I didn't take time to message him. I just changed clothes and burnt rubber, and he had called me to tell me that that truck had busted up his stalk, and I was like, well, I'm on my way out there anyways. I'm getting ready to hit gravel or whatever. And yeah, he had managed to, not managed, but unfortunately got bumped off that pig and went back to locate that white one after I told him I was on my way out there. And I guess within 5 minutes of that, I got another phone call. He located him and pinpointed him for me, and I hit the ground running once I got there.
Yeah, so I got back up and I relocated it, which I wasn't super helpful or hopeful for, because these pigs often get in thickets and you just lose them, and who knows where this pig went. But sure enough, as soon as I popped over the ridge, it helps because it's largely white, but I put eyes back on it pretty quick, and it was probably 200 yards from where I first spotted it. And I'll hand the story over to Ryan because he's got the next whole chapter of the story.
So he had explained to me where he was, where Hunter explained where he was sitting at, and he explained to me where the pig was. And I was starting to lean on the knowledge I already had of this specific group of pigs and where I had seen them move through between these ridges before. So I initially had told Hunter that I was going to go to the ridge the pig was moving towards, and I was going to come in from the top. But then I remember all the times that the pigs would stay in the bottom between the two ridges and work back towards where Hunter was. So I called him and said, hey, instead of hitting that ridge point, I'm just going to come to you. And he said, I don't think that's the best play here. Don't know how you would get a stalk on him. And I was like, okay, I got you. Then I'll just stick with my first original plan and go out to that ridge point. And he kept me on the phone as I walked out once he was describing to me exactly where he'd seen this pig or where he'd seen it last, because it's pretty thick brush in there, and he had lost it at one point. And with the way that I was coming across this ridge top, I couldn't see anything directly below me. I could just see the bottom of the ridge bottom, or the coulee, whatever you want to call it. And he kind of gave me the final directions of where to get to, and I said, okay, thank you, hung up the phone. And in my mind, I had thought that the pigs were like, I don't know, maybe another 100 yards on past where I was at. So I kind of crested the ridge top a little bit, and then boom, at probably 60 yards, here's this big sow that's just got me pinned, and I immediately dropped down and kind of scooted off the side of the ridge and called Hunter and said, "Hey, I just got made. Like this sow had me absolutely locked down." And we talked a little bit, probably for like 2 or 3 minutes. I'm like, "Okay, I'm just gonna try to crawl over this ridge and see what this pig's doing." And as soon as I hung up the phone and crawled back over the ridge, the sow that I assumed had saw me, I guess based on the way things happened after she didn't see me, she had turned around and fed off like 20 yards. And then out of the wild blue, here pops this white pig. And I range it, and I'm getting like 56 yards. I'm like, there's no way that pig is so much farther than 56. And I'm trying to keep from laughing because I'm remembering a story about me and my rangefinder from my first year hunting here. And that's a story for later. But I'm looking at this pig, and I'm like, there's no way that's only 56 yards. And we practice, we shoot like from 100 plus, so 50 is completely manageable for me. But I come in with a frame of mind like, if there's a possibility for me to get closer, I'm absolutely going to get closer. I'm not going to take it because it's in my range and it's available. I'm always going to try to get as close as possible. So this pig and the other one that was with it kind of stuck their heads in a bush, and it's really sandy where we're at, so it's fairly quiet. It's not super hard to stalk out there. So I just kind of start creeping down this hillside, and finally the pig pulled its head out of the bush to where if I was to make some drastic movement, it would have seen me. And I went down to a knee, popped a range on it. I got 52 yards. I'm like, okay, this pig's in a very open spot. 52 is manageable. The sow that had fed away had now gotten to an opening and turned so that she was facing me directly. So at this point, my ability to stalk any closer is kind of dead in the water. So again, comfortable with 52. I put my release on, drew back, and this pig, sorry, let me back up. It was in the open, and then it had walked to the point where its head was behind a bush, just enough to cover up its front leg. That's when I decided to draw. Pig stood still. I had an absolutely beautiful break on my shot. Hear the thwack of the arrow. It worried me at first because the pig didn't squeal. Every pig I've shot to this point has squealed after being shot. This one was just dead silent. And immediately I was telling myself, hey, you might have missed. But
that shot from probably 200 yards away, that shot sounded money. The best thwack I've ever heard.
I will say the hold and the release, perfect. I followed my arrow with my eye. Shot was exactly where I wanted it to be. I'll just throw a little dirt on myself here, I guess. The pig was a little bit further behind the bush than I had thought it was. I thought it was literally the bush was just covering up his front leg, and I saw everything I needed to. I made the perfect shot based on that knowledge. I got down on my arrow, a little bit of blood on it, a lot of gut material, unfortunately, so it is gut shot. Smaller pig, I shot at it with a pretty wide cut. It was a 2-inch cut expandable. So I'm hoping with big expandable small pig that the gut shot was probably enough to get it done. But unfortunate, we did immediately, not immediately, but almost immediately decided, hey, it's getting dark, probably going to back out. But I'm getting way ahead of myself. There's more to this story for sure. But I shot the pig, went down, looked at my arrow, wasn't happy with it. It didn't run far. Like it ran into some really thick stuff. Excuse me. And I could hear how far it ran, and it stopped. I stood there for about 20 minutes and never heard it move again. And I'm listening to the other pigs that were with it move around through the brush a little bit further down. And then I heard a pig squeal back off my left in a direction sort of like I was thinking, okay, this pig could have went that far. Because it was like a half-hearted squeal. It almost, to me, I made myself think, hey, this might be an injured pig. So I backed up and went 50, 60 yards back up the ridge I came down, and here I was again within 60 yards of yet another group of pigs. It's chock full of them. Like in the summer, I had watched two different groups of pigs, and I would never see them both at the same time. I'd see one group one day and one group the other day. Well, now both groups I watched in the summer are out here at the same time. It totals probably over 10 pigs. And this is only a couple days after we saw a completely different group of pigs that we were hunting earlier in the week. And there's at least 5 in that group. So it's just loaded with pigs out here. It's absolutely crazy. I feel like I've talked for a while. You go ahead and jump in. Rewinding. I go back. I find these pigs. I text Hunter and say, hey, I just found some more pigs.
Yeah, so I'm filming a lot of this. I've just recently gotten to filming hunts, and it's something that we've tried our hand at before, but I got some better equipment over the years, and it's chalked up to be a lot of fun up to this point. So I'm videoing Ryan and stuff, and he lets me know that, hey, there's a pig going to the far side of this coulee, or at least that's why I thought is the far side of the coulee. So I get in a position to get more towards that side. I didn't want to commit to that side because it wasn't a super wide coulee, so whatever the pig was, could have cut straight on through. And after him taking the shot and walking down to find his arrow, I thought they might be startled enough to do so.
I figured they would have pushed right out to you.
They nearly did. They were not very far in the brush. I was very close to pigs that I could not see. I had the camera rolling on the area where I kept hearing the pigs in there, and I was waiting, and the sun is starting to fleet, and I watched you climb back up the mountain, and I tell the camera, I'm like, well, that's a good sign. I've not heard Al Ryan at this point. I'm like, well, that's a good sign. I'm like, he's probably going back to the truck to get his pack.
I wish.
To take this pig out, and then I see him stop. I'm like, oh, what's he doing? I'm like, maybe he's just trying to see where these pigs are for me. And whether it was for me or not, he definitely was looking for pigs, and he definitely told me about them. And I started working my way over to him. Where he saw these pigs were covered up by the trees. So in this valley, you can see most everything, but where those pigs were not in my line of sight. So
really quick for context, we keep talking about this coulee or this bottom of this valley. So we're on two different ridges, and ridge is a very loose term here. That's just the best way to describe it. We're no more than 200 yards apart on these ridges, and the pigs are in the ridge bottom or the valley, whatever, below at the bottom of our two ridges.
To be most technically correct, I think most of the locals around here call them sand dunes, because it really is just sand dunes with brush on it.
It was dune to dune.
Yeah. So, anyways, we'll go with our appellation.
Appalachian, because I'll throw an apple at you.
It's Shenandoah. Anyways, so yeah, if he didn't go back up there and look for those his pig, I would have not had an opportunity to put another stock on myself. So he lets me know about him. I start working my way back up around this coulee or thicket, and as I do, I see two huge pigs compared to the others, which means probably younger pigs. But the two big ones, I was like, I need to try to get close to those with the little bit of time I had. And again, trying to film some of this, getting a camera and stuff. And then while I noticed that there is a not as large of a pig, but still a very large pig, about halfway in between me and them. And I range it, and my first range was 83 yards. So I go down to a bush that I could set behind and get a better game plan. And when I do, the pig just starts walking to me, and I'm like, uh-oh, because I'm not very far off this thicket line. And the pig's either going to go into the thicket or it's going to walk right to me pretty much, which is not what I want with just a bow and arrow in my hand. So that's on the back of my mind a little bit. And he's walking to me. I range it 53 yards. I range it again 40 yards. Like, this is pretty much continuous. Like, he's walking towards me pretty fast. 32 yards, 28 yards, 24 yards, and then there's a bush he's coming in behind. I range him just behind the bush, well, part of his body just behind the bush, 20 yards. And I'm like, while he's behind that bush, I have to pull back. So I draw my bow, and the closest pin I have is 20 yards. Ryan alluded to what I alluded. He mentioned how we we practice out to 100+ yards. We're fairly avid shooters, and most of the time when I go to the range, I shoot 40, 60 yards. Just to get the longer. And out here, it's almost necessary. He just told you how close that pig was, 52 yards. So yeah, at 20 yards is my closest pin, and this pig is just still kind of walking. At this point, when he stepped out from behind the bush, pretty broadside, not perfect, but pretty broadside. And I used my 20-yard pin. The lighting, it was still legal shooting light, but the lighting was messing with my eyes a little bit through the peep of my bow. Not enough to really mess it up. I just kind of blinked a few times and looked through both eyes to really figure out where I was at, and then I recentered and I felt good with it and I let go. But in the milliseconds it took for me to calibrate all that, I believe that pig probably got aimed about 15 yards from me.
Archery's tough, guys.
Man, hardest 15-yard shot I ever taken.
Yeah.
15 yards. I'm also shooting an expandable, 3-blade expandable. First time I've ever hit an animal with one. And I think I'm optimistic. Again, with the light getting low, Ryan said he heard my bow, and almost simultaneously he heard the thwack of the pig.
Yeah, so I had when I saw these pigs at like 60 or 70 yards, I called him like, "Hey, there's these pigs directly in front of me across this I was like, "Get on your horse. They're just on this other ridge." And I saw him. He started moving in the direction. Then I noticed he got down on his knees and started filming. And I was like, okay, I guess he decided he doesn't want to go after these pigs tonight. And next thing I know, I look back over at Hunter and he's gone. And I'm like, okay, one of two things has happened. Either one, he's went off the far side of the ridge he's on, so he could like sprint upwind to circle around these pigs, or he's dropped down towards me on the ridge. And right about the time I noticed he was gone, the biggest pig out of the group I seen was making a beeline straight for him. And I was in my head, I'm like, he's about to get ran over. Something's about to happen. And right about the time I lost sight of the pig going towards Hunter, I just like, okay, I'm gonna sit here and listen. There's no way it's gonna be long. And it was not even 30 seconds. It was instantaneous, the bow and the thwack of the arrow. And I immediately texted him like, good job, bud. And it ran, same as my pig, straight into this thicket that we're hunting around, that these pigs love to lay around in during the day. And it's just nasty stuff. And I guess we haven't got to it yet, but because we're not sitting here saying that we're cutting up a pig, it's because, I don't know, maybe we don't have the balls to go in after these pigs in the dark, but I don't know many people that would, because pigs are nasty, tough, brutal animals, if you didn't know.
To clarify, we can't carry sidearms in this unit, so that plays a big part in it. If I could have carried my tin with me,
very good point.
I probably would have tried my luck, but just with a bow and arrow and you have a light in one hand, that's not a very good defensive position to be in. But yeah, so I stuck him and he ran about 10 yards. All in all, he probably got about 7 yards from me and then cutting over into the thicket, not knowing that I was there. And the most shocking thing about this one was I shoot a 70-pound bow, and my arrow, for what it is kind of heavy. I forget how many grains it is, but it's not the lightest arrow. It's not the heaviest either, though. And
I think that's a good medium. We're not going to get on that side tangent of light versus heavy arrows, but I think 450 is pretty respectable.
So my only major concern with that close of distance, again, first time with the expandable, my arrow didn't pass through that pig. And I've shot 2x4s at 100 yards and not been able to get them out. Like,
I will say, so I have shot a couple pretty big boars at this point. And if you've never skinned one out, there's something that these boars have over their shoulder. It's called the shield. And it is the most solid block of fat that you could ever imagine. And it is, I don't know, 4 inches thick. I don't know. It's just the most solid mass here. Okay, if this gives you any perspective, the biggest boar that I shot from 170 yards, with a 243. I wanted to give you a second to stop laughing because at this point I understand that that's probably not a caliber that you want to go pig hunting with. But anyways, I did it. I shot this pig at 170. I perfectly broadside. I shot him through his left shoulder, and I found the bullet stuck in the shield on the offside. So even a bullet couldn't get a full pass through on a boar. Just for perspective.
Yeah. So, and this is what makes me question the most about my pig. He shot up. He ran about 10 yards closer to me, and then shot directly into the thicket. And he didn't go far in there, and that stuff is nice and thick. But I did hear him in water, and after, I don't know, it might have just been as little as 10 minutes, but it seemed like forever went by, and I didn't hear him no more. So he very well, I suspect that we'll recover him in the morning. But if he got up at any point, being that he was in that water, and moved somewhere, I don't think he'll be recoverable. And that's my concern for my pig. It's so thick in there.
I think it's gonna be dead where we heard it flopping in the water, because after it stopped, we were still there for another 15, 20 minutes, I guess. I never heard another sound. I think it's going to be laying there. Just like I think mine's going to be laying right where I heard it stop moving. After hunters had calmed down, I went back to the site of my shot. And because I was going to, when it gets dark and you put a flashlight on blood, it's a little easier. It shows up a little bit because it reflects, it shines. So I had made up my mind I was going to try and look for some blood. And as I get back to my arrow, right where I heard my pig go in this brush, there's the big sow that was with it. Just, I'm assuming that's what it was. Something big just starts thrashing around. And I'm like, okay, I think that sow was sitting over top of this pig. She doesn't want to leave it, and she's getting defensive. Another reason I did not want to get in that brush after dark.
Pigs are everywhere. That's the most pigs I've seen a day out here. And
Jesus, it was.
Ryan hunts pigs a little more often than I do. But I've seen my share of pigs.
I've seen 4 or 5 in a group, and I see one like before this. The most I've seen was there was this where I shot my last boar. Actually, where I shot 2 of my now hopefully 5 pigs. I found this glassing spot that I can watch this huge area, huge basin from the top of a hill, and the most I'd seen at this point was from that glassing knob. I'd seen one group of 4 working their way into this basin, and then way up on the top of the rim, I saw 2 pigs, so that'd be 6. That's the most I'd seen in one spot. We're talking 10 plus and like 200 square yards. And not just that, some friends of ours were hunting, I would say, a mile away.
Not far.
Not far. It was actually more than just our friends. It was at least 6 people. One of those groups of people saw 10 pigs, and then the other group saw another group of pigs, and they were able to shoot one. So let's say square mile, we're looking at over 20 pigs.
Littered.
It's thick. Now I don't know what the actual like population per square mile type thing is, but I feel like we're in the thick of it.
Yeah, so what I would like to reflect off of this story up to this point is we hunt together fairly often. We do a lot of outdoor activities together, which I appreciate a lot. It's a lot more fun when you have someone to do it with. And the fact that a minor life inconvenience interrupted a hunt earlier in this week, and then we were able to find, I didn't mention it yet, multiple white pigs. So when Ryan put me on this other group, after I shot mine, I look up and there's another white and black pig.
I wish you hadn't told me this because it makes mine feel just a little bit less special. But anyways,
No.
I think so the one you seen, was it on the ridge that I was standing on? Because if it was, then I saw it.
Yeah, it's a much lesser. I would say it's a black.
It's got a lot of black spots. I had to look at it for a few minutes and be like, "Am I sure that's not the pig that I shot?" But yeah, it's definitely got a little bit more black on it.
I would but that, I mean, out of all the groups of pigs I've ever seen out here, I've shot 2 pigs. And I've seen many more. I've seen red ones. I've seen black ones. I think we've only harvested black ones.
Well, that last one you got had some red in it.
Yeah,
A little bit of rust.
Yeah, it wasn't through black, but yeah, just to go out and potentially see 3 white ones in a day.
Yeah,
that's pretty extraordinary. But yeah, so there's a lot of things in my life in the past year that's been kind of well, a few years I guess, kind of been like divine intervention esque things, and this is just another one, just reaching us out and reminding us that he's there.
I agree.
So I'm glad it came together like it did. I do wish I could have gotten on that red and black spotted boar, but if I would have, I wouldn't have been there to help you with the white one, and then I wouldn't have had the opportunity to be pretty much 10 yards from a stuck pig.
Yep. Well, I appreciate you calling me and getting me out there. Regardless of if even if you would have had a shot that first one, I was definitely on my way to help you pack it out, and I just worked out really well. It could have worked out better. We could have recovered them both tonight, but it just wasn't the greatest circumstance to go in there looking for them. So,
I've already looked at the temperature tonight. It's supposed to get in the mid 40s.
I
think our meat will be fine.
It's middle of winter in California. It gets low 40s, high 30s. So I don't have any worry for the meat at all.
So we've not discussed what time we're gonna go recover in the morning, but I presume wake up, get out there, check our stuff. I will say, after a valiant attempt to recover them, if for some reason we're not able to, I think I'll find myself back out there tomorrow evening.
Yeah. On that, for anybody that has any kind of feelings, these pigs are invasive. They're a problem. That doesn't take away from the hurt I personally feel from wounding any animal. I wouldn't go as far as say making unethical shots, because my shot was completely ethical. It's just unfortunate circumstance, but
it is archery.
It is. It's not an easy thing. That's why I mentioned archery is tough. There's a lot of things. There's 100 things that needs to go right, and if one of them doesn't, then you're in a situation like we're in right now.
Last weekend, I don't know how long you want this to rattle on for, but last weekend we went pig hunting, right? And Ryan, we saw some pigs, and Ryan's like, "Hey, you're gonna shoot one of these." So just that morning, we were at the 3D range. And I was pretty happy how I did overall. Ryan, for the record, did outshoot me on most targets, but but
I don't think I'm better than him.
Everyone else does. I'm just joking. So yeah, it's we had a good morning shooting, and then just that evening we went out and I made I rushed one shot, and the other shot the pig completely ducked the arrow, and even that arrow was still 3 inches off after at 50 yards, and after we just practiced all morning shooting that far or further.
A lot of things can happen, that's for sure.
So
what I was getting at there is these pigs are a problem regardless. So find my pig or not, I sincerely hope we do. I have no qualms with being back out there tomorrow evening either. I think just the amount of pigs in such a small area is kind of a testament to how quick these things repopulate and how much of an area they can be in, or how small of an area such a big population can be in. And if you could see the damage, the trails these things march, and the roots and the bushes that they tear up, you definitely know a pig's been there. They're not a fantastic thing.
They scar the hillsides, especially where there's like in these dunes. It's not as obvious because the sand lays back down, but other parts of the area we hunt,
they just tear it up, man.
They just scar the hillsides. You go there months later, and you know pigs were there.
But I guess we kind of brought the tone down a little bit, or I brought the tone down a little bit here at the end. But no, this was a great talk. It was Hunter's idea really to sit down and talk about while it's fresh and while the adrenaline's still going. It was good, and I appreciate you having the idea and sitting down to talk and really taking me hunting. You're the one that got me out there and much more or less guided me right into them.
It's definitely a team effort, and that's one reason why I appreciate us hunting together so much. It's originally your spot. I know it's public land, but it's your spot. You found them, and I try to respect that. And when I saw the white one, I was like, especially after I saw the board that was separate. I was like, that's Ryan's pig. So
I appreciate it. And before we get off, I did a terrible job. Tell us who you are real quick.
yeah, so my name's Hunter Emswiler. I've been friends with Ryan since 2018. Yeah, 2018 is probably a pretty solid year. Yeah, we got to know each other up in North Dakota. We share a lot of pretty much all of our interests are parallel. Hunting and fishing being the main ones, and North Dakota we did a lot of both those, and it's good to have such a good friend to share these learning experiences with, especially when we move to different places and have to relearn everything again.
Yeah,
I tell y'all out there, if you enjoy hunting and fishing and you're thinking about moving, it's going to be 2 or 3 years before you get a grasp of it again. It seems to be like it's a 2 or 3 year learning curve.
It is a bit of a curve, that's for sure. But when you get locked in, man, it's a lot of fun. And that kind of, not to pitch myself, but mountains are everywhere, man. The opportunity's everywhere if you go look for it and spend some time on it. But you mentioned there at you've been doing some videoing and stuff. The stuff that you post online. You got a place that can go see what you do, or a place that people can go see what you do.
Yeah, I appreciate the plug. Yeah, as you know, and some of your listeners, we used to video waterfowl hunting up in North Dakota, and that was enjoying. And waterfowl is more of your thing. I definitely enjoyed doing it,
man.
But
We'll have plenty of time to talk about that. I love the waterfowl.
But when we got out here, and I try to continue some content with like fishing and stuff. I very much enjoy fishing. But just recently, due to your podcast, we were out looking at mics, and I got one for my camera, and I was like, well, I have no excuses not to try this camera out on a hunt now. And the very first hunt, every time I've held that camera now, it's been a good hunt.
Yeah, so it has actually. This is
it's
the
a good
third
token.
one. Third one you've carried it on. We've had opportunities all 3 times, and we just might have connected on them tonight.
Yeah, so if y'all want to check out my channel on YouTube, it's called Hunter's Journey. It's a play on Hunter as a sportsman, and their journey through just all kinds of adventures, and then also my journey. So it's not just tagged down to hunting right now. The content on there is pig hunting, but it'll evolve through fishing and deer and product reviews, wherever the landscape takes me, really. But it's really fun to film this stuff and edit it and just reflect on it. We capture this podcast so fast to keep to retain the emotions tied to it. But with these videos, I feel it's the same. I can watch it again and feel like I'm right there again. And it's very enjoyable. So, check out Hunter's Journey on YouTube. I just got 4,000 views today, and I think I just checked my page just for this thing, and I'm at 100 likes. So, it's not meant to be anything big. It's mainly a place I can share our hunting experiences with friends and family. It's the easiest way to get it out there. But wherever it goes, just know I'm definitely enjoying it.
Well, congrats, man. It's fun to watch, and it's fun to see how much fun you have doing it. And this definitely won't be the last time you guys hear us sit down and talk. But it's been a good one for the first one. So thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening. And Hunter, thanks for being here, man.
Thanks for having me. Good luck.
So that marked the end of the sit-down conversation that we had the night of the hunt. I'm wrapping this up 2 weeks post now, but I can tell you that the pigs were recovered, and I won't really reveal much more than that. If you want to see how everything really played out, go on over to @OneHunter'sJourney on YouTube, and you're going to be looking for the Double or Nothing videos. It's a two-part hunt. And he was able to capture all of it on video. So go on over to his channel and check that video out to see how it all ended, and show him a little bit of love, like, comment, subscribe, and do the same for this podcast, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you listen. We appreciate it, and we'll catch you on the next one. Thanks for tuning in to the Mountains Are Everywhere podcast. If you want to stay up to date, be sure to subscribe or follow wherever you listen to your podcasts. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I can't wait to bring you another one. Until then, you keep climbing, and I promise I'll be climbing too.